Welcome into a Packers defensive breakdown of their Week 15 matchup against the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, this was a 30-13 victory for the Packers. Only 208 yards given up, 13 points allowed. Packers made it tough for both Geno Smith and obviously the backup who came in, Sam Howell. So let's dive into the film and see how they are able to make this happen. All right, here we go. First play that we're going to look at. This is the start of the game for the Seahawks. Ends up being a very, very good completion for Seattle, but hey, part of this is because of the head fake that Metcalf has here. All right, so you can see the vision that Nixon has. He can see he's turning his head to the inside, right, over that shoulder. So I'm just going to assume that this is... Oh, didn't want that to happen. This is going to be an out route. He's just going to continue there. And as soon as he steps down to break, then he's going to turn it upfield. And Smith, you can see his eye is ready for that. And a nice completion there for 15 yards to open up the game for Seattle. Luckily, that wasn't a consistent thing that was happening throughout the game. All right, next play. Packers are going to get some pressure here, and Edgerrin Cooper, who's been amazing, comes up with a sack. And let's see how this works. We've got a double mug look. So double mug is just these two inside backers, right? They're inside the A gap, and they're giving you an exotic look, right? So you've got these 6 guys on the line of scrimmage, but you're not sure who's going to be dropping out. Well, let me tell you who's dropping out. You're going to send only 4 rushers, and you end up having Walker, who's going to drop out, Enigbari, who's going to drop out into coverage. Then you've got a rotation of the safeties and one of the corners who are going to have their deep responsibilities. And then you've got essentially Valentine playing on the bottom side here in a zone, who's got to play the difference between the flat and this corner. So even if Smith gets this ball out, right, if he sees Valentine is here in the flat and he rips this, there's potential for an interception. But Cooper on third down, able to beat his guy and get in the backfield for a sack. So just a complex look from the Packers, and that's going to make it difficult for this front to figure out who they need to block, right? So instead of it being, just 4 straight rushers knowing who they need to block, they think, oh, well, we've got to make sure that we're balanced because of these 6 guys up front. And it ends up being an overloaded pressure on one side. So you've basically got 3 guys over here blocking one individual. Cooper meant to free up Kenny Clark, but is able to get through by himself. All right, next play. This, I believe, is a broken coverage. If I had to assess any blame, it would be Carrington Valentine. I believe, based on what I'm seeing, that this would be... Again, we've got a nickel blitz here off the edge, but you've got another player dropping coverage, so it ends up being just a 4-man rush. But I think Valentine might have the deep responsibility here. Based on this movement of Evan Williams, he's coming down, and then he comes to work to the flat, the curl to flat. So it's some form of sky where it should be Valentine who's responsible for the deep third out here, because he's coming down into that flat, right? But Valentine gets his eyes into the backfield, and because of this pressure, he's going to assume that the ball comes out quick. So he steps up, but the problem is both Quay steps up, he steps up, he's responsible for the flat. Now that's going to leave this corner route just wide open. All right, so it ends up being a big play because we start to freestyle, we start to play off instinct, and when your instinct is wrong, then that's going to create big plays for the offense. Next play, the Seahawks have a pretty big run here, and Quay Walker ends up getting the tackle, but I think Quay Walker did not properly read this play. We go back to the start. You can see there's movements of the offensive line. They're down blocking here. You can see the center move. You can see the guard move You've got this down block, so it is going to be some form of outside zone, right? And you've got Metcalf working to the second level, but I don't think Walker actually was playing his reads at this point, unless I'm mistaken, and he's supposed to be reading the quarterback in this situation, right? But he is reading the quarterback, and then he's late because of that. So he's going to end up making the tackle, but instead of being outside and potentially filling a gap, he is reading the quarterback, and that's delaying his pursuit, right? So he steps down, and he's going to have to work behind these defensive linemen, and he eventually gets a tackle, but it's after the first down. So I believe that he was not reading the movement of the offensive line, and instead he's reading for a read option, and then his read is going to delay that and cause a big gain down the field. But again, it's not just on Walker. The play design here worked out well. You've got Van Ness getting beats. You've got two pullers. You've got Metcalf getting his block, and you've got an offensive lineman on a corner. So Valentine is not able to make a play. You've got another puller that's able to make contact with Walker. So good execution by the Seahawks. All right, next play. Got a pass here by the Seahawks. Carl Brooks getting pressure. Rashawn Gary walking away with a sack. Not too many places downfield to get the ball to. So this pressure, very, very quick from the interior. So Carl Brooks, good hands, able to get through. He's occupying both the tackle and his blocker as well, the guard. That's making first contact, and then Gary gets there to wrap up. So Packers finally getting some pressure in this game. All right, here we go. Next play. Get some pressure again. And then Valentine able to intercept this. So just really well played by him. Able to recognize on this out. He peeks back inside and sees that this ball is going to be coming out. So even though he's in man, he's able to break off that route. Good recognition, able to get an interception. It's just a simple triple out, right? So you've got this kind of like pivot route, whip route, and you've got this deep out, and you've got the corner. So you've got three separate levels. So usually this is better against some form of zone, but you've got man here because you've got a blitz that's coming in. And that Packers pressure, able to get there. There's contact on Gino, so he's going to toss that up to the corner. He's got to make sure that's, deeper at the back pylon, but that's tough to do when you've got pressure. I have no idea what he's doing coming out of the end zone. I know he's a little bit excited to get that interception, but sometimes you just need to take a knee. All right, next play. I'm going to focus on Wyatt here. You've got a wide formation, so it's got to be a passing down, empty formation. Wyatt with a very, very good spin move there. Setting up outside at the start. And he's able to counter with a very nice spin. So the offensive lineman can't get his hands on him. And that's just going to be a free rush. So center slides to the left because Carl Brooks is taking an interior step. So Carl Brooks, again, doing a lot here for the D-line. But a hell of a move there by Wyatt to spin through and get the sack. Okay, next play. Let's take a look. Play action. And the middle of the field. Would you look at that? Tyler Lockett. Nice ball. Able to fit that within the middle of the field. Got too high. Looks like some form of cover 6. Because you got a cover 2 on one side. You've got quarters on the other side. So you've got 3 deep in the end. But you've got half, and... Or a quarter, and half, rather. But Lockett is able to find the soft spot of this zone. Not enough depth there by Wilson because he has to respect this underneath route, which is at the sticks. And that allows Lockett to get behind him for a big gain. All right, next 3 plays. This is what is going to be coined as the Enigbare series. Kingsley Enigbare. 3 straight plays where he is making the play. First one, good power there. Gets his hands into the chest of the right tackle there. Pushes him back, able to get the sack. So we'll see it again from the end zone angle. Good burst to the outside. Drives through, fights inside. Gets a sack on Howell. Next play, Enigbare down here at the bottom again. And we'll watch this through. He's fighting to the inside. He's got his arms extended here because he's reading where the QB is going. So the offensive lineman has no clue. So if he's just at this standstill, he's not sure which way Enigbare is going to go. Brooks not able to get him, but Enigbare is there for the tackle, and that is a 2-yard gain. So not quite a sack. Could have had 3 straight sacks, but this one just ends up being a tackle. And then we've got Gary jumping off sides here. Luckily, he's able to get back. And we've got at the top of the screen this time, Enigbare fighting through, not giving up on the play. Nixon fires down, and Enigbare gets there for another sack. And he's counting him up at the very end. But we'll speed through this. Howell trying to make some adjustments. Enigbare, again, he's trying to open up this wrap here by 94. You can see that does a good job. Gary almost getting there on the edge. And Enigbare looks gassed right now. All right, so he's just hustling out there, gassed, able to get a sack, tired from that short series. Then we go from those good plays to a not so good play. Here we've got the same play that we saw earlier. Outside zone with 2 pullers. And that's just way too easy. So you've got that pin down here. He's able to get him inside. Then you've got 2 pullers. A good block by the receiver. So they saw that it worked for a 15-yard gain earlier in the game. So let's try it again to the opposite side. And Charbonnet is able to walk in for a touchdown. So looking at the same play just from the other angle, you see those 2 pullers getting out in front. Cooper getting blocked by a slot receiver there. JSN, nice seal. And then you've got McKinney frustrated because he's being blocked by an offensive lineman. And an easy touchdown for the Seahawks. And we've got Carl Brooks. He's been making plays for others all night. Now he's going to make a play for himself. Just a powerful bull rush here. Driving through the offensive lineman all the way back to the quarterback. So he's getting leverage there. Driving Tomlinson all the way back. And he's going to give a little bit of a jump here. And Mosby getting some nice pressure as well. But Carl Brooks finally rewarded for his dirty work all game. And we've got the last play, 4 verticals by the Seahawks, where they're going to bend inside. So you've got this too high look. So ideally, this is 4 verticals here. Ideally, with that too high, you have the 2 seams that kind of bend in, right? Because normally those are supposed to take the safeties, and that leaves you 1-on-1 on the outside, right? So that's ideally what they're trying to do. But Cooper playing his eyes. Howell doesn't recognize the 2 high safeties. Instead, is going to try to fit it into that seam. And Cooper's just going to step in underneath. So probably not the right read there for Howell. You've got 2 high safeties. You're running 4 verticals. Probably don't want to keep it to the middle of the field. So instead, you should be throwing that to the outside, trying to take a 1-on-1 shot. And that's just a mistake by him. So that's going to do it for this video. Packers pretty successful against both the starting and backup quarterback of the Seahawks. Only 13 points allowed again. So just a solid performance overall. A ton of pressure. A bunch of exotic looks from the Packers defense. So hopefully they can keep that going later in the season. And I will see you guys in the next video.